Wow, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. That is looking like it's low mic. Can I get a sound check? Sound check. Knock that off. You've blown me again. Thank you so much, Sam the Cat. Uber's smashing it with the donations and memberships. Sam the Cat, appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. And Sam gifted 5 Society X memberships as well. This is a Society X channel first. Absolutely a first. That's got to be the biggest donation I've ever seen on YouTube. Everyone's a member. Thank you so much. Under a Blood Red Sky. I'm going to have a look now who's got all them. I can't. That is unbelievable. They're still loading in now. They're still loading in now for me. Whew. Wow. 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 Look at all the chat. Look at all the chat. Wow. Great to see some new guys in here as well. One Generation Media, gifted membership. UK Lady, Stuart Brown, Smiler, Heister, David Chester. Michelle Z. Michelle C received a gifted membership. Well done, Michelle Z. Mr. Fun Mermaid. Effing Chunky Monkey, Gritsy, Fly Me to the Moon, Only Me, Mank Dank, Joe Black, Rach, Rebel, Dennis. Wow. 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 Oh my God. Oh, give me a few minutes on the link. I've got a few things to say, haven't we? What we're going to do tonight is... Right. Ubers, thank you so much, man. That is absolutely rocked us. Get on. And Sam the Cat as well, thank you. And also, we have got a new... We've got a new feature, haven't we? Which is perfect for this channel, this leaderboard thing. I've been after this for a long time. So what is it? What is it? Community. So I click community, and it must be Uber's. Uber's is 9 with 100 XP, so that's not right. The memberships have not done it. Uber's. So it must be super chats and comments, because CP reports had as number 2 with 250 XP. I don't know how you've got that. Angry Ralph 225, Joe Floss, and Sam is at the top with 300 XP. I don't know how CP reports got that. I don't know. But you've definitely knocked CP off the top there, so it's definitely worked with the super chat, hasn't it? I knew there was something going on with my mic. I could tell where the way it were moving. So is it not sounding good? I could tell. But there's nothing different. Testing, test. I don't know. It's fine now, right? I've just lowered it now. Ah, welcome, Mossai. Good to see you. Whew. Right, should we start the live then? There were far too many comments for me to go through as well. That's absolutely crazy. Ozzy, good to see you, man. Welcome. Good Mike, excellent. That's what I could see it doing, but I'm not seeing it doing it anymore, Parker. God, man, I'm nervous bloody wreck. Let me have a cig before... and I'm having to use grill because my flint's gone. Prime time, Mossad, prime time. Yes. And I've been implementing some plans. Things are changing. Got some big things coming, guys. That's all I can tell you. Big things coming. CP got treated horrendously. 2-tier. Did we see 2-tier or no? What do you think? Interested to find out there. Apologies, I wasn't live at the time, CP. I know you'll have been itching to get up on a panel. It just happens, Joe. I don't know. Comes and goes. It's Well, it's just sometimes I like to just chill as well in my life, and then the more support it gets pressure. I think I don't know. It's hard to explain. Right, not especially. What did it for me at first? I mean, I didn't lose sleep, CP. I'm sorry. I did giggle. I mean, honestly, I'll be honest. I laughed my ass. I did just laugh, not in an awful way. I was just giggling because you had a big smile on your face. You reap what you sow, and all the rest of it. I had a good giggle, and so did you. CP had a good giggle as well. But she says you're getting arrested, and the smile just goes from ear to ear. She's like, "Go on, then, let's do this." And but that aside, not knowing her, not and taking all that away, you watch the video, and all I saw from all angles and multiple videos, what every time it were put onto CP's toes, every single time she de-escalated. Every single time, from what I saw. Maybe there were audience, maybe from what Mark can only say what I saw. She was constantly trying to de-escalate, constantly walking away, and I also noticed many other people there which didn't get hardly as much attention as CP did. And so as much as I'd say, right, CP, stand back, de-escalate, stand back, she's doing that. Now everybody else needs to do that as well. And hopefully everybody will just be able to get on. Well, am I cutting out? I can't change anything. It's I can only think it can be the internet. There's nothing here. There's nothing here. Angry Ralph says it makes a change. I think we've moved on from that. I think we have moved on from that, Angry Ralph. I've not seen her pulling at the police's coattails for quite a while. I think that's a real digital. I think that's a fundamental part of just as rights as humans to be able to stand up and say no. And well, I support most of what they protest. I support most of the ability to stand up and say, anyone that's willing to do that, they get my support. It doesn't matter what they're protesting, really. That's not what it's about. There's a financial cost. There's a time cost. They also have to sacrifice going on social media if they don't like that. There's lots of sacrifices that people have to make to go on them protests. Maybe they want a day out, some do, but the majority are there because they feel that's the only thing they can do. Right, banner off. Sure, Joe, sure. Right, I'm going to drop a link. Now, I am also streaming live on Kick, and I think people are watching. So if you are watching on Kick, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. I just wondered, I'm showing different numbers, you see, back here. But nothing changes here. Right, I'm just like... Open panel LTG, absolutely. I don't know who you are. You'd have to drop your link. Is it? Is that what it says? Oh, well, we've got 3 people watching us on Kick. It's on. Get on. Yeah, if you just drop your... Oh, well, no, you don't have to drop your channel. We can check you from there. LTG, give us 5 minutes, mate. Yeah, it's over there, Terry. It says it's over. There's no coming back from that. It's full steam ahead, and then they'll deal with the fallout. Simple as that. That's exactly what's happened, and it won't be allowed anywhere else in the world. That's the truth. It won't be allowed. Right, yo, CP reports. Welcome to the panel. Oh, it's doing that sound thing again. I'll give you 5 minutes. We've got a lieutenant. Where I want to be. Hello.
Ah, am I in? Hello.
You're in. You're in.
Pleased to
You're
meet
in.
you. Yeah.
Hey, welcome to
So,
the panel.
thank you. It's Lieutenant or LTG, whatever you want to call me.
Okay.
I used to mod and co-host on the Big Nose of London. I don't know if you've heard of me from there.
No, so also you've been on YouTube before previously on other channels.
Yeah. I did a lot of support in that particular channel, and I've started developing my own, which I've put the link to in the private chat for you if you want to go and check me
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Like
I just
I'm nothing nefarious. I'm nothing
exactly
dodgy.
that. You know where I'm at. You know where I'm at. So you're live at the minute. Happy Tuesday. Oh, have you got restream on? That's fine.
Yeah. It's just back of my music that I've been making with AI. Just developing a playlist and trying to get the watch hours up, trying to garner attention because eventually I'm going to actually make my own music, not using
Okay.
AI. And I'll try and turn that into a business. So I'm just using YouTube to develop that and stay in touch with people since leaving other channels as well, because I've built up, some friendships on YouTube. It's pretty cool.
Okay. I mean, I like what I see so far with you. You know about setting standards and then like all this stuff. Yes.
Oh
Excellent.
yeah, I've got some like all my shorts, they're like a minute or so long of songs. So they're just teasers, but it gives you a taste of what the songs are like. And every week and now I'm live streaming them all in a playlist. The playlist's about 5 hours long and I just loop it. But I make me live streams private as soon as I'm done because I don't want anyone ripping me tunes.
Okay. I mean, you are protected anyway. I think I won't worry too much about that personally. It's just exposures. That's I just keep going for as much exposure as possible. Just
Yeah.
right. I'm going to bring CP reports on with us. So is that what we're going to call you? Is Lieutenant? Is that what people are going to call you on your channel?
Yeah, Lieutenant. Most people call me that. Yeah. I mod in One Generation Media and Real British Media as well, and a couple of other channels.
Okay. I mean, I was just making sure you want AI as well. Like, yeah, I make sure everything's covered. I'm like, you could be an AI. I've even got to think that.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You could be AI. CP, welcome up. Welcome.
Yeah, I'm here, Jamie. If you can hear me now.
Yes, I can hear you. And welcome. So we've got Lieutenant on for the first time, CP. So
Hello.
Hi, CP. How are you?
I'm all right.
So she's recently been arrested.
Yeah, I saw that on Saturday because I was
modding
One Generation Medias and Real British Medias on Saturday because they were there with CP when it all went down.
Right. So was it? I saw a video this morning. It was a great video. I actually commented.
Yeah, that
That
will
was
be
my
just
thought.
media.
That was my thought. AY, yes. So that was One British Media. That was.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a brilliant
That
video.
he got all the footage I sent you.
Oh, can you share his channel then as well throughout the night so people can find him?
Yeah, one second, let me find it.
CP thinks it's hilarious. She sure does. She sure does. And that's not. Why not? I had respect for her, right, when she said, "Well, I'll take the arrest then, because that's ridiculous. It takes a lot to do that." She could have just said, "Oh, well,
Jamie, it was ridiculous, literally." And from talking to people after it, they even have said it ridiculous.
It were ridiculous." And then the amount of so then police officers were there to protect the people in the area. But 12 of them, at least a dozen of them, walked off with tiny CP like it was in a movie scene. It was absolutely moronic. They took up the whole road. So the CP at the front with the arresting officer and a colleague, and literally surrounded by about 10 police officers, like they've just took down, I don't know, the most wanted. It was crazy.
And I just like to clear something up. I wasn't charged. I was bailed and gone back on the 1st of August.
She suspected, yes. So, but how many times have we seen this? Where people have said, "Oh, this is and not a thing has happened." They let them go. Remember the guy with the dog not so long ago? He managed to disappear before anyone started asking questions.
But at that point, yeah, The officer didn't tell me that I was suspected of a crime. She just came over and said to me, "We need your details."
Yes, let me try and just quickly remember what I saw. So she said, "It's just there's been an allegation.
Yeah.
Give you details." I don't think this is how it should be. You can't be just going up to police and saying this and that, and then
No, you can't. But
without
Jamie, literally, sorry, 1 second. Literally, that person that put the report in, I have proven that person is a liar. And that report was made up. I have literally proven it now as well. I proved it on Sunday.
Right, so that's after the fact, yeah, that you proved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the point is, as soon as you refuse to cooperate the police when they say to you there's been an allegation, that's it. They have the right to arrest you. It's that simple.
And I would take that arrest all day because I know I act in self-defense.
But couldn't you have actually just said, sorry, Lieutenant, go ahead, I was rude.
Yeah, like ultimately, what does that do for due process and what's right? Like, you did something that caused you to be arrested, and that makes the leftists more emboldened to be the nut jobs and agitators and tyrants that they are. That's not conducive, is it?
Well, I want to interject and say, well, wouldn't it have been easier to go? Well, actually, no. I just touched. Here's my. You can take my name. When I think about it, just take my name because they know who you are anyway. You're like you could you know who you are. Anyway.
This is City of London Police, Jamie.
They were coming to arrest her anyway. She went. The officer went over. They said, "Oh, she's not given a name." They went, "Oh, just nick her."
Yeah.
And this is right, Ubers. Well, Ubers makes a great. You're going to get baited. We've discussed all this. You know you're going to get baited.
I know.
You're going to become TikTok famous. It's as simple as that.
I pretty much have.
Yeah. And the laugh tells me it doesn't bother you at all.
Not really.
Good.
Because I know I did nothing wrong.
No, about being TikTok famous.
No. And that person that made me TikTok famous was arrested yesterday.
Annie says, is that confirmed?
Yeah, she was nicked yesterday.
Have you seen footage of that?
I saw footage of her outside a police station, and I saw footage of a protest outside it when she was inside.
Okay. I want to say a lot. Just sharing what people are thinking in the chat as well. What's the end goal? What does it achieve? And is it just about, because you wanted to get to 2K? I see you've achieved that. I wanted to try and find some way of getting some peace of some sort between you all, or to try and calm it down so it doesn't escalate. Do you know what I mean? I were hoping you'd been able to.
I know what you mean.
But they're not going to allow that. I've seen you back. Yes, Reese. Good evening, mate. Is that you?
Good evening.
Good evening, pal. Good evening. Welcome.
I just had a question. Maybe a more legally inclined mind than mine might be able to answer. Is someone making an allegation of assault? Does that constitute reasonable articulable suspicion that you've committed the offence?
No, that's what I wanted to say, but I couldn't word it well. I didn't know how I could word it. I was thinking, how can you just go up to a police officer and then do they judge it on what? How you look? Is that what they're judging it on? The words that you used? Or do they have to investigate? Yeah, good point.
Here's the thing. They would have been surrounded and they would have seen CP's actions. Pushing someone away is still a common
I didn't
assault.
push her away, though.
Didn't you push something out?
No, I
face,
I
like
moved,
a loudspeaker or something.
In that scenario,
the megaphone, right? Hang on, the megaphone wasn't floating mid-air, was it? It was attached to someone, wasn't it? So you did push someone out of the way.
Oh, yeah,
know,
but legally,
So
she
that
could have
is-
pushed her onto the floor. I mean, honest to God,
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the severity. You touch someone.
Jamie's
Yeah, you're
backstage,
entitled
the
to go, that's what
footage,
I'm gonna
the
say.
slow down footage.
In that situation, what's important is how you felt at the time. And if you thought that you were under threat, you could push them to the floor legally, because that megaphone in someone's ear is comparable allegedly to a jet plane taking off. That can cause serious ear damage, right? So in that situation, had someone in there blasting that in my ear, I honestly believe I would remove it and smash it on the floor, honestly. And I'd say, well, and then I'd go into the custody suite and I'd say to the sergeant, they blasted it in my ear. I impulsively grabbed it and smashed it. And I'd say, do your worst. And that's how I would.
Right.
And I'm not saying that's right. And that's adult, but I just know
Yeah.
that's what happened.
So
Ultimately,
in my
right, going through the facts, yeah. Like, I know what you're saying, and like, I'm not totally against what you are saying, right? I'm just looking at it objectively, from start to finish. Okay, someone's got something in your face, and it was horrendous what they were doing to CP. Actually, like, you have no idea how much I just want to smack them all one. But just sitting watching, like, from my armchair, it was disgusting. Okay, but ultimately, you've then physically touched that thing which is attached to a person to get
Right,
it away from
but
you, okay? And that's a physical
but
contact. And then hang on, I'm not finished. Then
Yeah.
they've alleged that you've harmed them or whatever. And so the police has to come and investigate. They have to investigate every allegation. And so then they need your details. You refuse to cooperate with the police. They have the right at that moment to arrest you. It's that simple.
but Jamie, in backstage, there's a bit of footage, slow down footage backstage.
Yes, they're the ones that you've sent me on email. Because I've got
Yeah.
those lined up. Okay, I'll play those shortly. I've got them.
Because that will just show that I did not even push her. The reason why I was in there.
At the time, the police
Can I
needed
just
to
finish?
investigate that, didn't they? The police needed to investigate that, didn't they? So they had every right to arrest you, CP.
Right, Jamie.
I disagree. I disagree, and I haven't seen the footage, but from what I've been informed, an investigation, because an allegation has been made, just because an allegation has been made doesn't give grounds for arrest. Yeah, there needs to be further investigation by the police, and the police need to investigate before they make an arrest. To acquire that reasonable articulable suspicion that an offence has actually been committed.
Yeah.
An allegation of assault doesn't constitute reasonable articulable suspicion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
they attempted to investigate, and she refused to cooperate. That is an arrestable offence.
Yeah, but you're under no obligation to, unless somebody can enunciate reasonable articulable suspicion.
I've had this before, and I've voluntarily gone along to the station. Had I refused to volunteer to go along to the station, they were well within their rights to come and arrest me, to take me to the station. It's the exact same thing.
I'm not so sure that our laws are that loose that the police can just go and whip people up and take away their liberties just on the say so.
They didn't just take anyone's liberty away. She refused to cooperate. It's in law.
If you think about it, that's really serious. Regardless of what plans the person's got, here's the police in their super uniforms. Oh, we've been told. Okay, I've seen loads of people. I've seen loads and loads of people trying to make reports to the police, right? And they go, well, give us your details and we'll look into it. They instantly say to the person trying to report it, well, give us your details and we'll look into it. And if it were legit, you'd think the custody sergeant might have agreed, but I don't think he did. I think the custody sergeant said, no, this ain't right. I don't know. And then the other side is, well, what's the point having a police if you can't make a report? But there has to be some. It seems harsh to me that they can do that, and people are saying they can.
Oh yeah, they can. That's the law.
Yeah.
The last protest I were at, I informed the police of assault upon my person and criminal damage to some of my possessions, and the police weren't interested in conducting an investigation. They wouldn't even take my report of the offence, let alone go to the person and investigate to take their details. So this is obviously and quite clearly an egregious use of their powers. When I had video evidence of the offender, I had video evidence of the assault, and obviously evidence of my personal possessions being damaged as well, but they weren't prepared to investigate. So how can you explain the disparity between that set of circumstances and the fact that somebody has simply made an allegation and they've chosen to take CP's details? The fact of the matter is they are afraid to take the details and to investigate offences that are committed by some of these protesters.
No. That's not true though, because
I've actually been. I was actually in a discussion with. Sorry, Jamie. In a discussion with the officers at the scene, they said that they're not going to go into the crowd to take people out to arrest them at that moment in time because it would cause an escalation of the situation.
Yeah, it's risky. Definitely, and that makes
sense. So they're afraid.
Well,
they're afraid of the situation escalating.
But if CP had given a name, she wouldn't have got arrested because they'd have done it in slow time.
But they had no grounds to take her name because they didn't have reasonable articulable suspicion that she committed an offence. You're only under an obligation to provide your details if you are suspected of committing an offence. And if they can't enunciate RAS, then they've no grounds to take your name.
I think I'm changing my mind here, right? Because they've gone up and said I've been assaulted. So they're like, right. So they're like, we need to know who you are. And she says no, and she puts them in a difficult position. I've changed my mind. You got to work with the police sometimes, I think.
Absolutely. And she was under suspicion. And they had reason to suspect her. Because even if they hadn't seen it close up, from a distance, they would have seen her motion to push that loudspeaker out of her face. Okay.
Yes, that's what they've seen.
Enough to investigate, and then someone turns to the police. They have to take that on board, and then you've got other people obviously expressing that they're more than willing to be a witness. Okay, so this is grounds for an investigation. So then they go to investigate, and she causes a disruption to that. She refuses to cooperate with the police. That is an arrestable offence.
You've convinced me, and you've convinced me for this reason, because they're allowed to get it wrong as well. The police can make a mistake, and the fact that they will have seen CP turn around and reach out and lash out, they will have seen that.
Yeah.
Maybe they only saw half of it, but I think that's then enough for them to have said, well, I did actually see it. Maybe they're not just, you know what I mean, Reese? They're not just taking the person's word. There might be some coppers saying, yeah, I seen something go on. You know what I mean? Or I saw her out.
They had the place surrounded.
I think... interesting debate. Right, let's get CP on and we'll have a look at the clips. CP, welcome back. I did see guys loading in backstage as well. Apologies if you are loading in. I am staying live.
Yeah, it's me, Jamie. Sorry.
So you will be able to join back on. Right, CP, I've got a clip lined up, love. I've got this one here you sent me, which is build up to the arrest. Let's have a look.
So can you just
got arrested.
go?
CP still getting harassed. As you can see.
So you see there, they have hold of me.
That guy is such a pussy.
Have hold of my pole.
Shaking when there's a van.
And then grabs my arm.
Oh, so you're getting here she comes.
Let's do it. Apologies.
Got a fight happening. She's getting there. Watch it happen again.
I guess it's your one. I forgot this was your one. I'll get your channel now, mate.
Yeah, share these links.
Yeah.
Look at what she's having to deal with, but I just want to say, right, it's important.
Who's being assaulted now?
But is there something to learn from this as well? This is why we're trying to find a middle ground, because obviously people are fed up as well. Otherwise, this wouldn't be happening. So I think
that goes both ways, though, Jamie.
Exactly.
I understand that the protesters are fed up with the situation that they're protesting against, but there are people in this country that are fed up with the constant protests.
Yes. And yeah, that this was 50 yards from the actual protest, that they're actually diverted from the protest to basically harass her.
Oh yeah,
And also, Jamie, one second, can I just say something?
Yeah.
Can I just say this? Yeah. From the moment we got there, they were straight on to me. From the moment we got there.
This were nailed on. It were bound to happen, and thankfully it can get worse. It could be worse. It's a dangerous world out there, and emotions are extremely high. We're seeing people getting attacked. We're seeing people throwing petrol bombs in over this issue around the world, and it's crazy.
Hey. CP's over there. They're now calling one of the police for sexual assault, apparently. Just observe from a bit of a distance at the moment. But the police are guarding CP and RBM at the moment on the other side. Be interesting.
Okay, so that's where's everyone gone? There you are. There isn't any defense for that. It's literally looks to me like it's been pre-planned, or they've got off train and gone, let's look for and they call you ET, don't they? So that's what they're saying. Let's find ET. When we find ET, we're going to film her, and that's what's going on. But to be followed around for and I seen one video, someone's got a pan of some sort, a literal pan.
Yeah, I sent you that link as well. That is
that one of them that's in the
medias.
Let's watch that one then.
Watch the full Real Vicious Medias one. I sent you that.
Okay.
The YouTube video. That basically him breaking everything down from the moment we got there, stage by stage, and giving his and giving his reason why he thinks it all happened. Because that's a really good one.
I've not showed, no. Oh, I might have done a recent one. Right. What is this one? Let's have a look. What's that? So is this is just before the arrest, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, this is the fast one, Jamie. I have sent you a slower down one.
Yes.
Oh, just what, Jamie, 1 second. Just to point out, that person there in the white t-shirt is a City London CID officer.
Him there with the ginger hair?
White t-shirt with a bag on his back.
Is he?
Yeah.
Is he undercover? Works for the city?
So I just want to point that out.
And he's watching it all unfold, isn't he?
Yeah. You missed it.
Where are you now? Are you right in the middle here, or are you?
No, I'm on the edge here now. I moved at this point. I moved out of the way.
Right, where are you now? Oh, you're here. I can see your bag.
Yeah. Just go back, maybe. That's if you showed a slow down one. This one, then this one. A slow down one is better.
Okay, I'll play that. I mean, it tells you the police are looking for any reason to deal with you, and they thought they maybe had a justifiable reason. Maybe they got it wrong, but that doesn't mean they're going to stop looking for one. I can't even listen to it. I got to turn it down. It makes my head go. I've got to agree with Richie. This is definitely what's happening, Richie. You can see if you admits it, and it's a dangerous road. Oh, I can't stand the noise. That's exactly right. The police are actually babysitting. They are. What a waste of resources. I mean, I'm talking about right to protest, and I stand by that, but that's not the right to protest. That is it. That's just a mess. It's not just stupid. Right, I'm done with that clip now.
So, a question that I have to ask is, those people that were crowding around CP, what was their objective?
So before that, one of them assaulted Real British Media by grabbing him.
I guess what I'm saying is, what
I
were
went
their
over, Reese, 1 second, sorry. I went over to try and help Real British Media. That's why I was there.
Reese is asking, what are they trying to achieve by doing that?
What were their intentions? Yeah, what were they trying to achieve? What was their goal?
No,
was it to intimidate you?
I got no idea, but all day what they were doing the whole time was bullying, harassing.
I guess they'll say they were doing exactly the same as what you do in their mind. They'll say, no, I'm just filming. I've heard them say it. Annie says there's one line now. She makes me giggle. She'll go, I'm filming for my own safety, guys. You know what I mean? She goes, it's just my own safety, guys. I'm just filming for my own safety. Well said, tribalism. And the problem you've got now as well is there's a lot of them doing it. When it's just one or two, then it's like, oh, well, they're just filming back and you're just filming them and they're filming you. Now you've got 10 at you. Next week, 20.
Sorry to interrupt. The thing is, someone made a point there that they think that CP's a Zionist, okay?
Yeah.
Now, they think everyone's a Zionist who says anything that they don't want to hear. So that that just goes over the top of your head like walking off a duck's back, okay? But here's the thing. Adding to their suspicion by getting arrested, by doing the wrong thing and then smiling into the cameras does kind of fuel their flame.
Yeah.
No, I am not a Zionist, TKE, before when we start saying that rubbish.
No, they're saying that they think you're a Zionist. You know, the leftists who were at that protest?
Yeah, but somebody just in the chat, she is openly a Zionist.
All right.
Yeah, people in group pack mentality is a dangerous thing. You know, one person starts banging a pan, 10 people bang pans. You know, it's
yeah,
it gets out of hand, and all you're ever going to get told is, well, if you don't like it, don't go. That's what the police will tell you because they're going to try.
I'm not involved with our fight, Joel. Get out of your head.
You are.
Maybe that's probably one of the best things that could be done, though. It's kind of like if you've got a child that is misbehaving, one of the best ways of dealing with them is to just ignore them. Do you not think that there's a possibility, an element of it, that these protests have continued for as long as they have because they get a reaction? If we just stopped paying these protests any attention whatsoever And obviously the Israelis and the British government are not paying these protests any attention whatsoever, because it's not changed the policies, has it? It's not succeeded in what they've set out to do. If we just ignore them, ignore them, maybe they'll just go away. Hopefully they'll go away.
I agree with that, Reese, and I have noticed there is a significant drop in the numbers on the pro-Hamas side of things because they're being ignored. So you're right there, Reese. So people going there and not ignoring them, actually giving them airtime by live streaming them and then getting arrested, which actually fuels their fire,
Correct.
is keeping those protests happening. And we're sick of it.
I think that, well, the protests that I don't think they do achieve nothing. I really don't.
They haven't, have they?
Well, I don't
2
know.
million people marched. 2 million
I
people
know.
marched on Parliament against the Iraq war, and we still went to war. If you think protest changes anything, you're deluded.
Well, that's my line. But it does. It changes hearts and minds. It does. It does change hearts and minds. That's the game, isn't it? Otherwise.
Do you know anybody? Do you know anybody that was either ambivalent or took the side of the victims of the October the 7th attacks, that has changed their opinion as a result of these protests in city centres week in, week out?
Yeah, I do. I've seen it. That people just the more education, the more information about people's struggles, what's going on, the disparity of there's lots of stuff I think that's been well, the opposite to that is that they've been absolutely that nothing's learned nothing, and that's not true neither, because we've covered all. Let me get Welsh on. Welsh, your camera's still on, mate. That's why I brought you on. Good evening, mate. Good evening.
Good evening, all.
Hello. Yo, it's been a while.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Good evening, all. How's
Good evening.
Hi, Elsie.
Evening,
All right.
Welshie.
Yeah, I was saying. Well, we recently just talking about that.
We can't hear you, buddy.
But
Bad connection.
Yeah, you're breaking up robotically there, Welshie.
oh, sorry. Yeah, it's like I've said it multiple times, and I don't.
I'm going to take him off and wait. He's just. I think he's driving. I think so. Wait. I'll try again in a minute. He's just driving.
I think
around.
it's because he's in the valleys, Jamie.
He's in the valleys. Angela, is that you? I think this is Princess Angela coming up.
The mill's getting it way.
Chat, it's her.
Yeah, it's me. Hiya.
You did better than me getting 15% Moss side. Hubert says is making sense. Angela, welcome, love.
Hiya.
Then you put it up, the slow down one again.
Right. She wants to show the slowed down one. Let's do that and then we'll move on. Let's get this. Slowed down footage for CP. Right.
So you see there, the megaphone is there in my ear.
What we're watching for.
So you see in the corner there, the bottom
Yeah.
corner, the megaphone is in my ear.
Okay, so let me look at the bottom right.
So then I grab it and push it away.
Right, I'm not seeing the megaphone yet, but I have seen it. Oh, not really in your ear. Hang on, let me have a look. It's not what I thought, actually. Where's the megaphone now? All right.
I got hold of it.
Right, so I see it there. Oh, you did overreact a bit there, I think.
Yeah, that is common.
Hold on, Nick. Can I just point one thing out? Met Police took someone to court in 2020, as well as a case actually went to court this year. No, hang on, because someone used a megaphone, one of them, and was that close, not as close as that, to an officer's ear or 2 officers here, and they were taken to court. and
I'd
one
have
found-
supported that as well if it had been anywhere near her here, but it's not.
It was.
It's
Come on,
not.
it was
It
like.
was. Can we go back to the start?
It really
Okay.
was.
Hang on. For the record, yeah, Met Police is not City of London Police. City of London is a
No, but it's
different
still law,
country,
isn't it?
different
It's still in case
jurisdiction,
law. It's still
different
case law, though,
laws.
isn't there?
I'm
It's
still
still law.
speaking
It's still
different
the
laws.
law, though.
Our laws,
We're
I'm
working
still
off
speaking,
law.
our laws are precedent set.
This is driving
They're
me
a
up the
separate
wall.
country. They're separate. They're separate from our precedents.
But they still work under the same law.
But if you wanted to report that. But that still doesn't justify your common assault.
But I didn't assault her. I
That
acted
doesn't
in
justify your
self-defense.
common
So
assault.
Lieutenant's point
didn't-
is that because
it
it's
wasn't
attached,
right,
it's an
yeah.
extension. What she's saying is that you did assault her technically because it's an extension of her, because it's attached to her. So she's talking
Yeah.
about what the rule state is in the law, that it doesn't have to
Yeah.
make contact with her. That could still be an assault. And watching it from here, unless I'll watch it at the beginning again. Let me watch it back. Because I don't
I
see it
think
in
if you
your
had that media,
So you
one,
see
he
there,
circles it, didn't
it's
he?
in my
Yeah.
ear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, she's got it right there. Yeah.
It's not
So
even
I
like
acted in self-defense.
And then
We
she
had
moves it
this
back.
in News No Yorkshire once in London.
No, at that no.
Hold
At
on.
that
Hold
point,
on.
at that point,
What-
at that
how
point,
can
there
you
was
get a
no
word
sound
in?
coming. There was no sound coming through that like loudspeaker in your ear. Her mouth
It
was
was.
nowhere near it, so it was
You
only
do
You
not
can hear
know.
it. You can hear it.
I do
Well, the
know. I
mum-
can see
I
it.
think
Her
we get a
mouth was
word in,
nowhere near
Jamie,
that
and not me
Okay.
loudspeaker.
explaining it.
Her mouth
Okay.
was nowhere near that loudspeaker.
There's no point in me explaining what happened if I can't even talk, guys. You
What
are
is
not there. Let me
I'm
speak.
watching it with my own eyes.
Yeah.
Jamie, I'm going. I can't.
We've had it. She's rage
That-
quit. So
That's
she's
the
rage
evidence
quit.
that would be presented in court, isn't it? That's what everyone's got to look at.
But
No,
this
it
is what
wouldn't
I've
be.
noticed.
It wouldn't
Though,
You
even
can't
right,
get to
manipulate
Lieutenant,
that.
It's
You
not
can't
going to get to
manipulate
court.
that.
let's look
It
at
won't
this,
get-
right, Lieutenant, right? Because when you see she's reacting to something is CP, right? So otherwise she wouldn't have turned round if there were no sound coming through it. Or she's felt it pushed into her ear. She's either felt it pushed into her ear, or there's no sound on it, Mike, or there was some sound because she reacts to it. And I think that were enough for me. If you watch, something happens for CP to react. She ain't just out looking to go and grab people's megaphones. I've seen her many times withdraw, and so she reacts to something. That's where you pushed her. You push her there. She pushes her twice, if you see. I think she pushes her here. She's already pushed her there. And then I think she goes for the megaphone.
Yeah. When there was no sound coming through it. She wasn't
There
even
is
speaking
sound.
through the radio thing that she's
Not
got
just
in her
about
other
the
hand.
sound, though. I don't know if it's just about the sound. I think you were right next to it. It's too close to her. And there must have been something going on. And it's just,
Bill, which
it's
is readers in the chat room.
noise. I've got it here.
Yeah.
Bill, which is
Ultimately,
readers
it's still
in the chat
regarded
where
as
we
common
saw it
assault.
earlier. It's not common assault. She's not been charged with it. She hasn't even been interviewed at the police station.
But the officer had every right to arrest her because she obstructed the course of justice when she refused to give her details because of the allegation of assault.
Yeah.
Which
and I think-
all of that we've just gone through needed to be investigated. You can't investigate when someone obstructs the course of justice, which is a crime to obstruct the course of justice.
I think what she was arrested for.
She was arrested because she refused to cooperate with the police, yes?
Mm.
That's obstructing the course of justice, isn't it?
But you've
But
got a
it's
right
an
to remain
offence.
silent.
It's an arrestable
Mhm.
offence when there's an
You've got the right
allegation
to
as
stay
serious
silent,
as
though,
that.
don't you? It's a
But, yeah,
necessity for arrest, isn't it? If the necessities are all set, then yeah, fair enough, you can arrest
And that's
whatever,
what she
but-
said. She went, do your worst, arrest me then. But someone could stay there and just say nothing. Say, I'm not speaking to you.
Yeah.
I'm not saying no, whatever.
Mhm.
So I
People
don't think
spend-
you don't have to do anything.
No.
She was arrested for common
Common
assault.
assault.
There you go.
Anywho,
Anyway, it got you over 2K, so there you go.
do I need to start investing in
No, ain't me.
companies that make spades?
Mate, what?
Spades,
Spades
yeah, like shovels,
for digging holes.
yeah.
Why? You think we need to be buying bunkers?
I'm thinking it might be on some people's minds at the moment.
Well, national service has been ruled out, right? So they've ruled out national service, but this is recently, I've just read, they are implementing, to make it part of the education system to talk about the work of the armed forces. So basically to encourage young ones to join the forces. That's what they're up to. They'll be going back to trips and, and weekends away. Yeah.
Serco's just got the contract for armed force recruitment.
Serco, is that so they're going to be going into schools and talking about all the amazing stuff they've done. God, right. What we've got. Oh, I'm just looking in private chat now. It's been going on in there as well. It's all going on tonight, isn't it? It's all going on. What else were going on about that? And yeah, Russia and is he warmongering, Starmer, or is he right? I think he's bang on, and I'd say double down. But apparently we can't afford any of these plans. Apparently they've just, this Iron Dome type system.
Yeah.
That all day long I would have that. I'd double down and have it twice. Why not? Keep us safe.
3% of GDP is the aspirational figure that we're supposed to be working towards by 2030, apparently. But the problem is GDP is declining.
He needs to implement that right now, fast. And
we lack any manufacturing capability to have any weapons industries of his own anyway.
Iron Dome in every city, exactly. That'd be even better DP audits, even better.
With the cost of modern munitions that are required to fight a modern war, 3% of GDP is going to go nowhere near what's needed to defend this country.
I agree, but that's why I say I'd double down. But if we can't afford it,
we have less soldiers in the field in our armed forces. We have less military than we have had at any time since before the Napoleonic War.
I don't think that actually makes us less safe, because it won't be how the war's fought. It'll be in the sky, and it'll be different. It's not going to be.
No, I appreciate that, but I think that the hope of the British government and the British Armed Forces is that any conventional conflict would take place on the European mainland and not on British soil.
Yeah.
Therefore, in order to field, in order to put 10,000 troops in the field, you need at least 50,000 troops to put 10,000 troops in the field.
I mean, if it happened here, though, Reese, we are all already here. We would just be all have to get into action. We wouldn't be have to enrolled. We'd just be here, wouldn't we? It'd just happen.
Yeah, but can you really see them handing out weapons?
It would be absolutely crazy. I've got Ubers backstage. Ubers, is that you?
Hey, how you doing, Society X? Hope you're well.
I'm doing good, mate. I'm doing
good. Go for Ubers. How are you doing, pal?
Hey, how you doing, Reese? Hope you're good, pal.
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Loads of respect, mate. Big up for them 50 memberships. You absolutely smashed it with that. All I can see is green in the chat. It's fantastic. I love it.
Well, look, I think it's important to support a channel where, the truth really does matter, and listening to both sides of a story either can change or, make a difference. And I think that is what Society X does very well. He's prepared to not just go to the narrative, and I don't want to, I'll only be on for a short while, but I don't want to make it about me. But we've seen that if you want to go to my channel, where over 4 hours I was subjected to a certain narrative. And when that changed, literally 4 weeks later, it was a very, very different story. So this is a very fickle place, YouTube, and I think we should appreciate Society X that has continuously and has shown that he is prepared to listen to both sides and not just go with the popular narrative, which of course would be easier in the short term. But if I could just talk about CP, nobody wants to see anybody arrested, of course. But the people that CP is filming are, they know exactly what they're doing, and they're good at what they're doing. And I don't mean that in a complimentary way. They know full well that CP is there, and the people that follow her are coming from a certain genre, and what they are doing then is they have decided exactly like the people on here that behind the scenes that they are going to take down that person, and we've seen it on here as well. It happens on YouTube. Like all of these people are not just complete strangers that have just met, because if they were, it wouldn't be happening. What is happening is there is a concerted effort behind the scenes when CP first started going there. And unfortunately, I have to say, no disrespect to CP, but she hasn't helped herself either. So she has, in their eyes, aligned them herself with the other side, and that is enough.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And this is what she needs to listen to if she wants to say this "I'm independent" thing. You can't have your cake and eat it, can you, Ubbers? So if she's going to be independent, she stays on her own and be independent. If you're mixing with people, or then you link with that as well, yeah. And I guess you're talking about Roy and John. Who else? Spit the names out. We need to be open. Well, look, I have a lot of time for John and Roy, and the next time I'm in London, myself and John are gonna meet up in London. So I have no issue whatsoever. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying that for 1 second. I'm saying that where these people are coming from and the deep haste that they have is enough. You know what I mean? The reason goes out the window, Society X. And we've seen this on here. There will be narratives, and can I just say as well, big up Princess Angela on reaching 1,000, over 1,000 subscribers. I said it earlier. There was a lot of people trying to bring Princess Angela down, and the concerted effort, they threw everything, bar the kitchen sink, at Princess Angela. You know what I mean? Now they're fighting amongst themselves like rats, and it's sometimes, if you sit back, it would make you smile. You know what I mean? But I think that, as I said, Princess Angela's channel is growing, and I think that congratulations is in order as well for that. I'm not going to stay long. It's a very interesting discussion, and thank you for allowing me on. But you have to understand the mentality of people that absolutely hate you. And I think that is what, chasing views and subscribers on the back of that, of people that genuinely hate you, is not the way forward. I'll leave it there, Society X, and thank you for allowing me on. Let me double down and just thank you again for what you do, mate, for us around here. Thank you so much. Thank you.
David, you're a legend. Never change.
Take care, everybody. Take care.
Take care. Right, let me get Welshie.
Big up, over. See you, mate.
Your camera's still on, and Chrissy. Right, let me just get Welsh on, and then I'll make sure. Oh, is that you, Welshie? It is. Sure.
Yeah, I'm just having a pizza. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Selfish. Sorry.
Have you got pineapple on it?
You don't have pineapple on pizzas.
Chrissy, is that you?
Yeah. Evening, everybody. How we doing?
Evening, Chrissy. Welcome to the panel, guys. Welcome.
Thank you.
So, I think we've done CP.
Can I quickly give you guys a legal case that is really helpful when dealing with police that just won't leave you alone? It's Regina versus Cotter, and Cotter is spelt Cotter. I believe it was 2003. And the case
I needed spelling. Vagina, I need spelling. What was the name?
Regina versus Cotter.
Yeah, spell out the vagina bit. Just I got the Cotter bit. I didn't need help on the Cotter bit.
I'm not spelling vagina. Regina versus Cotter, 2003, I think it was, and I've used it very.
Sorry,
I've
is
used
it
it very.
Regina? Regina.
Regina. In other words, the
Yeah.
Queen, you know, the crown. Regina versus Cotter. And I've used it very successfully on my local police force because when they literally want to try and chase you for every single false allegation that's made about you, it's really good to actually say to them, right, Regina versus Cotter, case law. Basically, it was a case of, and I'm going to get this hopefully, you know, not too wrong, but I'll get this a little bit wrong. It was the case of a guy that was going out with an Olympic sprinter, and he made up that he was mugged, and went to the old Bill and said, I've been mugged and blah blah. And it turned out that it was all made up. And
was this about 20 years ago, Chris?
Sorry.
Was this about 20 years ago?
2003, I think.
Oh, here we are, 20 years ago.
Yeah. And what happened was he basically got done for attempting to pervert the course of justice, which is prison time. It's a serious offence that usually gets prison time. And anyone that makes a false allegation about you that is trying to get you arrested would be guilty of perverting the course of justice. Once you turn that on the coppers and you say to the coppers, excuse me, this is a false allegation, because obviously, you know, if they say, for instance, oh, you was in Falkirk and you mugged someone when you can prove you was in Essex and you was at home with like 5 people there, obviously it's going to be proven to be false. And you then demand your local force investigate the person that's made the false allegation for perverting the course of justice. And perverting the course of justice is one of the foundation type offences of British law. Very serious offence, you know, it affects the very foundation of British law. And you put that on them a few times, and what the police start to realise is that every time they follow a false allegation or an allegation that hasn't got any legs, you're going to put in the counter allegation of a much more serious offence. And you know, basically, the police soon learn that if they're going to bring a false allegation to you, you're going to ask them to investigate the person that's made that false allegation.
There's going to be a consequence for that, yes. And that and it were, as Lieutenant was kind of changing my mind as she were talking, but that were in my thoughts as well. That
Jamie, wouldn't it be interesting using that case law against parents that are being put under stress by CPS? It'd be quite an interesting thing to bring up in front of them, because of course they're all anonymous tip-offs. But you know, when the police start harassing,
but they've got legislation to back that up with the Children's Act, as children's welfare being paramount as such, and and once the concern's raised, it's a concern.
But unless it's pertaining to a criminal investigation, I don't think that it is considered to be attempting to pervert the course of justice, is it?
Be wrong,
can't you? If you're trying to get someone arrested by making a false allegation, it counts.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying is, in the case of child protection issues, it's not from the point of view, is it? It's not to engage criminal action, it's to elicit an investigation by the social services.
If this happens on average, if this happens on average, say twice a month for the last year, then the parents at some point, you know, would have a case to say that this is now turning into harassment, because
you're absolutely right. Or alternatively, you could go down the route of looking at either slander or libel and a civil claim.
Civil. Yeah. No, you go for malicious communications on that one. Yes. Malicious communications is so much easier to prove.
Lads, I've got to tell you this. This is nuts. I'm walking my dog yesterday in Cardiff Town Centre. I'm in front of the castle on the grass verge. I've seen some police sirens go off, so I'm already triggered.
Yeah.
So the phone's out of my pocket. I thought he should just going to drive past. He sort of drives past me, but he stutters and waits. So I thought something's up here. I see his eyes. He's looking everywhere, looking right at me. I thought, fuck. Fucking press record. All of a sudden, arm response come out the Volvo. Put the gun down, put the gun down. There was a guy sat on the castle wall with a fucking toy gun. But they take it as a gun. Well, there wasn't just a pair of coppers arm response. There was literally 3 arm response vehicles in a matter of about 2 minutes turn up. And I'm the closest person to this guy as well.
It's a good way to get yourself shot.
Yeah, so I recorded it all, like, as you do. And then at the end, I stopped. I looked at the fucking phone. I hadn't recorded nothing.
Oh, I've been there before.
In a direction for 10 minutes. It was like the best walked on footage. And I literally had it as before they even got the cars. I even had it before they got the cars. You know? Unreal. I was so upset with myself.
Footage worth dying for.
Ah, no, there was none of that going on. Yeah, literally. But you know, if you'd have a gun, I'd have set my dog on it. I'd have trigger it.
Good way to get your dog shot as well.
No, don't worry about me. I'm just auditing, mate. Just auditing.
I did put him on the lead. He wasn't on the lead at the time because it's grass by there, like. And all of a sudden, he starts going up to the guy with all the guns pointing at him. I go, Trigger, come this way, just this way. I look, what?
Anyone got any
There's
different
food
word
over there? That's what he keeps on doing. There's food by there.
A better descriptive word for auditing. I think the word auditing has been killed. Personally, it's become something.
Yeah, well, that wasn't an audit.
No, I know it won't. But if you say it now, audits to some people, it's kind of got a negative thing behind it, and. Is what else?
Cop watching would be a better idea.
Come on, more pestering. Any advance on pestering?
Cop watching.
I like Pinnack because it'll increase people. People will have to look it up to find out exactly what Pinnack is. You know, so it's, and when you actually find out that Pinnack is photography is not a crime, it sort of gets you thinking, oh right, yeah, now I get what they're doing. So.
But that's what it will never. That's not what attracted. I never were like, oh, I'm so pissed off that we can't photography. That this photography is getting fucking restricted. I never had that thought. It were about kind of being squashed down, you know, as a smaller person by someone above. It were about authority and just social society. It were about. It became something else to me. I wouldn't have been reaching out to people going, oh, I'll get involved with that shit if it's about pestering people. No, I want that.
Custodians of integrity.
Yeah, making sure there were a lot more to it.
The secret is really is to know more about legislation than the officers in front of you. And sadly, that is not that hard to do. If you just keep it simple and keep it to the things that affect you, like drive-in, for example, protests, all the subsections of the protests, Section 35, Section 50, obviously 43s, terror. If you just keep it system and know it back to front, like if they use the Section 50 on you, and then they demand the date of birth, give them the date of birth. Guess what? You'll get a couple of grand because it's not required to give the date of birth. So if they demand date of birth, give it to them. But you know. It is really important to feel like you're competent in legislation, even if you don't show it in front of the police and keep it quiet, keep it to yourself. If you're going to confront police or get in contact with police, you really need to get to grips with legislation.
Cop baiting.
Joe says most auditors now just do industrial estates. It's completely dreary. Do we agree? They don't. I don't get excited. Well, it doesn't excite me looking above fucking big companies. I'm not excited by it.
That's ignorance baiting, isn't it? They're relying upon the public being ignorant as to the quote unquote auditors' rights, and baiting their ignorance and their rage as a result of them doing it. That's exactly what it is. If you don't get a reaction, then there's no interaction, is there?
Well, when the company rings the police clearly inform the company these days that actually what the chap's doing is legal. Because not all, I mean, majority of the time now, the police don't even turn up. It's because, you know, obviously after they've done the second company in the same industrial state, you know, the local police force, the local 999 operators, I bet they're well aware now that an auditor's in the vicinity, and because I don't see police turning up half the time, and that's because what's the point?
Well, they've got it at the minute by saying someone's trying to get into a hotel. That seems to be the only way to get the responses now. AY gets them. There's someone trying to get into a hotel and they're just bombing there, and he's going, "Nah, mate, I'm just filming." You know, that's the only time you see it happen now. Have you done your pizza?
But eventually, the police are going to get wise to that, aren't they?
Yeah. Eventually, that'll.
Yeah,
I don't see how that ends. Actually, it's interesting.
Because it's a credible risk. They're then forced in hand to turn up. Where up until the point of saying that they're trying doors, like you said, most police forces now, not all of them, but even with the hotels, you know, they're saying, well, if they're out in public, there's nothing we can really do about it.
Oh, I missed that.
I think they're getting more wise to it, like the phone operators.
It's going to come to the point where they start pulling aggravated trespass, because obviously trespass is a civil offence. Aggravated trespass would be if you refuse to leave a private property, even if it's got public easement. You can still be asked to leave a private premises, and almost all the hotels are going to be a private premises with public easement.
Well, it's to do with this class thing, the AY. At first, I was skeptical. I'm going, what? Thinking, because we didn't know what we were on about at first, class 1 and class 2 and all that stuff. But he's bang on. It means, listen, mate, it's public lobby. Simple as that. Go and look at your classes.
Jamie, I've always said it, that outside of the pub, outside of the hotel, is public.
Yeah, even inside, even in the public area.
I've even direct messaged Yorkshire Rose and explained this to her. I made, asked, to get a different opinion, obviously, to try and get more opinions. But I always said public areas outside the hotels are basically public. There's nothing they can do about it. And AY, he's called their bluff. He's done his research and he's called their bluff. He's done a good job on it.
He's done a fantastic job of doing his research, asking the right. He's found out before he went out there, and he stood up to us all when we were like, because everyone at the first time when he started, a lot of nervous people out there, and people who had been filming took a step back as well, and he jumped feet first and said, "I'll show you," and that's what he's done. Bang on.
I think it's the fact that it's considered to be a hospitality establishment. There is an implied right of access, isn't there?
That's what I think it is, Joe. That's what it does mean. It's like it's basically it's the conditions that you accept when you apply for that license. You're basically saying, but you do know that you'll change this. Your rights will be changed because it's no longer a private residence. So expect to find someone in an area that might not be there. That makes sense to me.
If it's a private property, though, it is still a private property, even though it's got public easement.
Of course.
The only thing is,
explain to him, Jamie, about the
with that implied right of access.
Explain it.
Yeah,
with that implied right of access, it's public until they remove the implied right of access. So unless they tell you to leave, it's reasonable to expect that you can be in that area because there's an implied right of access.
Yeah, but once you are asked to leave, if you refuse to then leave, they can use reasonable force
then it's trespass.
But
then it's aggravated trespass. Aggravated trespass.
Well, no, it wouldn't.
No, it's not aggravated. It's not aggravated unless you are trespassing in order to commit an offence.
Well, no. I mean, you don't have to be attempting, trying to commit an offence to get done for aggravated trespass. You just need to be on the property that you've been trespassed from. So basically, if they say you've got to leave, if you then don't leave, you are, and you're still on the land, you are committing an aggravated trespass.
No, you're not. You're not committing it. There's a potential that it could become aggravated. So AY plays
Well,
that well. He'll go, if you want me to leave, I'm leaving. But I was just having a conversation with this guy.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. If you refuse to leave a private premises, then that would be aggravated trespass because you're standing on their land, telling them that you're not going to move from their land. So you're aggravating.
Chris, can I raise this very, very important point? That everything in that establishment is paid for by taxpayers' money. I'm just bringing it up. Which then obviously opens it up for public scrutiny.
No, because it's not, because it's a person's privacy, and there's no.
It's not. Jamie, can you refresh me on the cast 1 and 2s, because
the man himself is right here. AY is much better at explaining this. Let's get him on.
Because I don't want. I hate speaking and not having it.
I hate to be rude and jump off when someone's coming on, but I've got to get some tea and that and sort myself out. But thank you for having me on anyway, Jamie. It's been a pleasure as usual, and thanks for the conversation, guys. It's been good.
Cheers, Reese. Thanks for the super chat and members as well, mate. I appreciate it. And come
back
no
problem.
Thank you, mate. AY, is that you?
Take care.
This is me, Jamie.
Welcome, pal. Welcome. So a few questions which we're all about.
I'm not going to answer these questions tonight because I've answered these questions many times.
AY, you're the mountain of knowledge on this exact subject, mate. I would quote you, and I need to make sure. I need to know dialed in what the form is. So I'd appreciate it if you could explain yourself again on the specific licenses that they're obtaining.
All right, let me just go back a couple of steps, Welshie, yeah? I was talking about two-tier policing earlier on, yeah? This week, I'm going to show you two-tier policing at its absolute finest, yeah? You're going to see...
What do you consider two-tier policing to be, though, bro?
All right,
no,
so...
Go on forever.
Okay. So, I was arrested under false allegations, yeah, at a migrant hotel.
What was you arrested for, please, fella?
Common assault.
Right.
So the security guard put his hand on me. I took his hand off, and then I took his hand off and removed him from my space. Then I was arrested for this. I was arrested, by the way. Yeah, after I showed them footage, I was smoking a cigarette, and I said to the guy, "Look, be careful because you're up in my face. I'm smoking a cigarette. If it accidentally burns you, it's not my fault because you're nose to nose with me, kind of thing, you know."
Yeah.
So I said, unless they're taking that as a threat to assault, that was the only two things that I could think of. So anyway, I was arrested, detained for 45 minutes. While they reviewed
You must look like Clint Eastwood having a cigarette while someone's nose to nose with you, fella.
Well, I kind of moved him out the way, yeah?
Right.
So I'm smoking a cigarette and I'm saying to him, look, be careful because if this cigarette burns you, it's not my fault, yeah?
Yeah.
When I say like nose to nose, yeah, I'm not. If we were nose to nose, we'd be nigh on kissing.
He was so close, it was uncomfortable.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we'd be kissing, wouldn't we? Yeah. So unless they took that as the assault, anyway. So the police come straight away, no investigation. Boom, you're under arrest. Common assault. I said, whoa, slow down. Let's before you get yourself in any trouble, officer. Let's look at the footage. And then you can make a decision, yeah. Like if you think I've done anything illegal, arrest me. You know, no problem. It is what it is. So after watching the footage, the police officer agrees. After about maybe 5-10 minutes of watching the video of the two incidences where they said that I've assaulted them. So after that, about maybe 10 minutes watching footage, I then engage back in conversation with her and say, you can clearly see I haven't done it. Yep, I can clearly see that you haven't done it. You haven't done nothing. So I said, do you want to de-arrest me now? She said, no, let's just wait. So anyway, we waited. Yeah, we waited.
Yep.
I'm not bothered. We waited. She was pretty good looking, to be fair. So it was half all right. To be fair. And we were having a bit of a laugh and a joke. And we engaged in some interesting conversation, actually. So anyway, me and Lauditz, we went to get some lunch. And so I was de-arrested, let go. And then we went to get some lunch. We went to another hotel. I was assaulted twice by one security guy, who then had to be physically restrained by his colleague for approximately 90 seconds to 2 minutes.
Wow.
While I'm standing there and I'm just looking at him and his colleagues, he's trying to get to me. Yeah.
When are we going to get this footage? When are we going to see it?
So
was he SIA? Was this guy SIA?
Well, this gets better, yeah. So
was the guy SIA?
Hold on, look 1 second. I can answer questions after you. Let's get to the end
Didn't
of the
even
story.
know if you heard me, bro.
Let's get to the end. So then he broke my phone case because he went to grab my phone first of all, and then when he didn't get the phone, he went to grab the GoPro, and then I shoved him in his chest, and he went back a couple of steps, and that's when the other security guard jumped in. Anyway, the police come. So after showing the police officer the footage, another officer turned up. What's going on? He said. The police officer said, this security man, not in these words, but like words to this effect, this security man has assaulted him and I've seen the footage. Yeah.
Did you get that on tape as well?
Oh, I've got it all. And then
Wicked.
all of a sudden, the police won't arrest him. Yeah. The police are saying, no, we're not going to arrest him, even though we agree that it's an assault. We're not going to arrest him. Yeah. Now, he was SIA. To be honest with you, I've not even started making the video yet. So I haven't really looked into his number, if he's to catch his number or anything. But anyway, I went to another hotel, and I was at this hotel, and I was nice and polite, like I always am to people. This migrant has come out of the hotel. Now this bit I haven't got on cam. Yeah, but so people are gonna have to trust what I say. I could hear him on the phone saying, he's here, he's here. So I believe that he was referring to me, like they was expecting me to come at some stage, and if I do come, what they're gonna do. So anyway, this migrant has started shouting, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to shag you, I'm going to kill your mum, and I'm going to do horrible, nasty things to your mum, what I don't want to say on Jamie's live. Yeah?
You just caught me unmuting then, thank you. I went, whoa.
I was not going to say that, Jamie, yeah? But he then approached...
The geezer was busy then, wasn't he?
He then approaches me with a hot cup of coffee and
with
throws a cup of coffee in my face.
All right. He did that, or he said he were going to?
He done that, Jamie, yeah?
He's done that, has he really? Has he been arrested?
Done this.
Have you got that on camera?
I've got this on camera as well, Welshie, yeah? And do you know the sickest thing about this, people? The police officers arrived. I showed her the footage, yeah? Can clearly see what's happened. He's been dealt with by the police before. The police officer knew him by name. She's dealt with him before for a previous incident, what I've got her confirming on cam as well. And they refused to arrest him. I asked the police officers a simple question. If you got a report that I punched him in his mouth, would you arrest me? And they said, yes. I said, so why won't you arrest him then for throwing hot coffee in my face? And they could not give me an answer.
I can't believe
that.
I
like I said, surely you can take that further. I mean, it's a clear assault.
Get it on a shot first. I'd have a shot out of that straight away, and
it wouldn't be up to him.
People get behind that and go down to the hotel here. Why people? If you've had a hot coffee thrown in your face, that can't be ignored. That's disgusting.
Jamie, I had on one of them, there was over 2,001 people in the live stream, yeah, that was watching it live. Somebody, they was calling the police, yeah. So
Right.
I didn't want to turn the live stream off. It was getting heated now because then he
Right.
then went to get a brick and come to hit me with a brick. We was going to, but he thought that I was going to run, but I wasn't going to run. I went towards him instead of running. Like he thought I was going to run off, you know. Like, but that's not. I've always said.
Yeah. Well, you're 6 foot. I mean, that's an advantage. Someone said it. Colin Fisher says he watched it live and called the police. So all this were on a live stream. Wow. I seen you have 13,000 people watch one of your lives, which were just like, what?
Jamie,
so that might have been the one.
Mate, it was so. It wasn't that one that you come in. It was the next. You come in. Which one did you come in? Actually,
I don't know, mate. I don't remember.
And then so I've said to him, listen, come outside. Come, go around the corner. Yeah, if you want to, we'll have it. Then they all started to come out of the hotel.
Oh God!
Right now, yeah, I've got another one. Yeah, who's come up to the bush, but they're only going to the bush and they're just shouting. They're trying to throw things at me and things like this, and they're trying to get round the back of me. Well, if the people in the live stream, a lot of them must have rung the police because I picked up one comment and someone had said, no one else ring the police. I've just called 999 and they're aware of it. They know that they're sending police, you know.
Right.
A lot of people must have actually rung the police from the live stream as well.
Someone said in chat there, Jerry says the police are dealing with it slow time. That's all. Is that true? Are the police, or have they just not done anything?
So
where was it? What false area?
Gloucester.
Gloucester's pretty slow, man. They've not got a lot going on in Gloucester. I mean, they've got
how do you know all what's going on in Gloucester?
I mean, if I was you, I would either speak to HNK if you deal with them, or speak to whoever your solicitor is. But on top of that, you've got the evidence. The officer can make a bad decision on the day. I would press charges. I would 100% press.
Yeah.
I wouldn't let it slip. I would just, like I said, report it as a literal crime. I've got the evidence. The evidence is, that's all.
CPS will bin it. CPS will bin it.
It was, so this is basically, yeah. So basically, I said to the woman officer, like I was saying to him, look, I'm not leaving this. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is not right. You know, like this is not right. I'm not leaving this. It goes against everything I believe in, yeah, as a person. You know, everything.
Well, no one's throwing a hot coffee in your face and just getting away with it. You know,
Jamie, wait there. Sorry, anyway. Can you imagine leaving your home country for fear of being persecuted?
Well, you're making assumptions that's where he's come from. Don't do that. We don't know the facts.
Well, he's an asylum seeker. He's an asylum seeker. So you'll have a story. You'll have a story of. But wait there. Let me make my point there. I'll make it wider for you.
I understand your point. I've already got to end of it, and I'm shutting it down because it's a generalization, and I don't want to be about generalizations. What you're saying is that I know you understand your point. I'm getting it, but I'm not entertaining it.
Jamie, the police turned around. The police officer turned around and said to me, it's your own fault because you have drove from London to Gloucester to film this hotel. And I turned around and said, hold on a minute. So what you're telling me is if I leave my house, I should be expect to be assaulted?
No, they're telling you that basically you're seen as an agitator.
Yeah, I get but it's the wording, yeah, that she was using. I get what she was saying, yeah, but the wording is the key. Yeah, you have left your house.
It shows the thought process, and there's some truth in it, thinking about it. So if a phone call comes in, they're just at work. There's somebody there that isn't at work. It's like a visitor.
Yeah.
So that instantly gets their thinking that, well, that puts them as a victim in their thinking.
The return answer would be, okay, would it be an offence if it was in my postcode? If I was attacked by that?
Oh, yeah, great point. It's not that it's right or wrong. It's just this is how they get into these decisions. They're thinking, well,
don't forget, at this precise moment, I was actually standing on a public footpath, yeah?
The old Bill will look at it and say, what did you expect?
Exactly.
You've gone into a hotel where people are living. It is their private space. I know what you're saying about, like, you know, we've paid for it and stuff like that, and I sort of agree with you there.
Yeah.
But the amount of shit that refugees get for no good reason is you know,
Anyway, talk about these licenses, please. Please, AY, can we talk about these licenses?
I was never, ever, ever in all the hotels that I've been to, I've never entered into a private space. I've been invited into a private space, but I'm always very careful that if it's got a door that says staff only, that's classed as a private space. A hotel room is a private space. The lobby is not classed as a private space.
Well, it's on private property. If the hotel's private,
though, it's an open door.
Lobby,
if your front door's open, Chrissy. So if your front door's open, the bailiffs can walk straight in and go, well, it were open. They've done no wrong.
That's because they've got the force of law.
No, they haven't. It's not breaking and entering.
That's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is...
I can't hear both of you, mate. I can't hear both of you.
Yeah, but that's not the point. The point is, if it's an open door, it's an open invitation in most cases. Correct. Why would it not be?
Yep. As we said before, you know, that you've got the implied right of access, but that can be withdrawn verbally on the spot. And the thing is, you've got people that were trying to burn these places down just last year. This time last year. You know,
everyone knows what the form is, Chris. Everyone knows what the form is. It's auditors. Everyone knows the form. There's a guy with a camera outside or walking around. Everyone knows what the form is.
No, they don't. No,
about the licensing.
No, they really
can we talk about the licensing?
They don't know what the form is. All they know is that they're probably being told not to speak to this person. That this person is an enemy. And not to speak to him, and he's not here for any good reasons. And whatever
Chris, they know exactly what it is because a lot of these hotels now play music. They play copyright music. They have speakers on the outside of the hotel, or the foyer, or the front reception, where they play copyrighted music. They know exactly who is outside.
Yeah, the hotel might know that, but the people in the hotels might not.
Well, they all know it. The security know it. That's why they're playing copyrighted music.
The security are usually, you know, not even sort of have English
Who
as a
presses
first
play on the copyrighted music?
Where does this go? Where's the? I don't know what you're on about, really. What?
Yeah, AY, can we talk about the licensing, please?
Yes,
so we can get that ironed out.
Go on then, Wednesday. Wednesday, I called you for some reason. Sorry, buddy.
No, but you know it. I'm not 100% on it. I know about 80% of it, but I'm not 100%. So tell me.
Right. So, what do you want to know?
So we got license 1 and license 2, isn't it? With the one, it's classed as a private place.
License 3. Yeah.
And the other license is classed as a public place, correct?
Right. So a hotel when it gets built or when they want to convert it, they go to local council, they get planning permission, and that comes under, they get a C1 license issued to them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the C1 license that will class with like hotels, bed and breakfasts, guest houses, anything like that there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you can go into the reception of that hotel all the time that's holding a C1 license. You can go into that reception. They can ask you to leave, yeah, and you must leave. If they ask you to leave, you must make every effort to leave. Otherwise, they can use reasonable force to make you leave.
Exactly what I said earlier.
Right. Now, there's no
C2 license. Is that the one with the liquor license?
No, it's nothing to do with alcohol licenses at all. This is to do with residents. Now, a C2 license will come with a care home. Yeah. So, like, if it's a care home or something, you've done planning permission and you've got a C2 license for a care home that comes under C2. A C3 will be your residential. Yeah, so like a lot of Airbnbs will have a C2 license. Yeah, a lot of Airbnbs, they should have a C2 license. They see under their C1 license, it won't cover their operating license for their alcohol and things like that there. Do you know what I mean? Like, it won't.
Yeah, that'd be a separate on license. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a set. And if I'm totally honest with you, even I haven't checked, so this is just speculation. But these hotels, they've probably kept their operating license as well, i.e., their alcohol license. If they have, it'd be a technicality as well, where you could actually just say you're there for a drink.
Well, it'd be a financial benefit to keep the license, wouldn't it? You know, just to have it.
Oh, gosh, 100,000,000%. Yeah, 100,000,000%. Now, when it comes to like the areas outside, now, yes, we all know, that in that land, it is their land. Yeah, they can ask you to leave. Yeah, they can turn around and say to you, like, once you're outside of the building, and as long as you've made every effort to leave, then you're off okay. Now, this is another thing as well. When it comes to this, it's like people turn around and say, so, all right, we'll go back to the staff only bit. This would be the easy way to explain it. If I entered into the staff only, if I'd see a door and it says staff only, and I went in there, technically, I could get arrested for like commercial burglary. The only way I wouldn't is because I don't have the intention to steal, or I don't have the intention to cause any damage. But I've still entered into a restricted area. Yeah, so I never go through them doors anyway, even though I've been desperate to go through a couple, but I refrain from actually doing that. Now, the police cannot make you leave that property. They can't do it.
The landlord or the agent of the landlord has got to give you the marching orders, and then if you refuse to go, then the police can take over.
That's not what it said, though, it could have been
no, they can't.
Couldn't it have been one or other?
No, they can't.
How come the police have then on some occasions?
So only once, Jamie.
Basically, the police will always tell you that, either the for instance, in a pub, they'll tell the landlord that he's got to ask the person to leave. And if the person then doesn't leave, then the old bill can say, hang on, this might be an aggravated trespass coming up. And then they can take it over.
So really what you're saying is then that they're preempting a crime, for one, which they can't do. Yeah. And first and foremost, who
are preempting the crime?
The police.
No. What's happening is the landlord is asking the person to leave. If the person then refuses to leave, then it can be, they can look at it as a crime of aggravated trespass.
No, they can't.
They can.
No, they can't.
If you refuse to leave someone's private property, you're trespassing.
You're misunderstanding aggravated trespass, Chris. You think it's as simple as leave, don't leave, aggravated trespass. It's not that clear.
No. What I think is that basically you're asked to leave because you are trespassing. If you then refuse to leave once you've been trespassed, it can then be deemed as aggravated trespass because you are trespassing by being there. And you've aggravated it by not leaving.
Aggravated? You see, that's what I mean.
There's three requirements for aggravated trespass. One is intimidating those persons or any other. Another one is obstructing the activity or disrupting that activity.
Disrupting legal. We've done this before, and I'm sure we got to the gist that they had to be a little bit more to it, didn't they? Rather than.
Well, you've just got to stay away from the protected characteristics.
No. Let's stick to facts. You note about that. I'll bring it up again. We'll go there. Because I'm sure when we read it before, the police could remove
the key elements in trespassing. Yeah. Now we all know trespassing. Yeah. Okay, trespassing. We accept this. Yeah.
Yep.
The intent. Yeah, to disrupt or obstruct or intimidate people engaged in lawful activities, e.g., hotel staff or guests. Yeah. Now we've got no intent to do this. We're not there to disrupt, obstruct, or intimidate anybody. We're just there to ask simple questions. Yeah.
But your presence on a private property could be all of those things.
How?
No.
Because he's just told that's not what he intends to do.
Look at it as someone's private dwelling. Yeah. Look at it as a private
dwelling. No, it's not a private dwelling. We can't look at this as a private dwelling. It's not a private dwelling. Forget that.
No,
That's what the
to
licenses are
simplify the
about.
process. To simplify the process. If
No,
you
I'm
had a
not.
stranger
No,
staying in your
it's
lounge,
different. It's
if you
completely
had
Order.
a
Let's not
stranger,
argue. It gets too difficult to listen to for people here. Let me just read out what AI says, what aggravated trespass is. It says,
Jamie.
as defined by the Public Order Act, it says it occurs when a person is trespassing on land, so we establish that, in relation to a lawful activity on that or adjoining land, and then does something intended. So the intention is to make a video and upload it to YouTube, right? It says here, you have to do something intended to intimidate. Well, just filming is not intimidation. Obstructing, filming is not obstructive. And disrupting, well, if they just walked away from him, he's not disrupting anybody, is he? Because to disrupt would be to walking in on a meeting, walking in on, and this is, you're talking about like animal rights, or someone on a farm, blocking off that, and so the animals couldn't leave. This is what he's talking about, disrupting the activity. So unless you can be specific about what he's doing, which fits into that category, and by specific, it has to either intimidate, obstruct that activity.
Just by being there, though, just by being there,
that's not enough.
It is enough. It is enough. People have been
Okay. Look at the legislation. Look at the legislation for aggravated trespass.
They may have pleaded guilty, Chrissy. You'd have to show that it's enough, and it's been through the law, and it's been scrutinised, and it's covered in case law. That can't be done because it's specific.
It can be done because people have been convicted for just literally refusing to leave someone's land.
Yes,
because it's their land. They get to say who is on their land. And if, for instance, it was in your lounge and someone walked into your lounge and you asked them to leave and they refused to.
Look, Chrissy, you're bringing in rugby league when we're talking about rugby union. They're completely different things.
No, it's rugby.
No. There's league.
By refusing to leave, you could be intimidating the owner. Because you might be stopping them from relaxing in their own front room, for instance.
You're saying could be, but what have they intended to? They didn't intend. Look, the words are specific.
So once they're told once they're told to leave, if they then don't leave, they intend to disrupt.
No,
because their very presence could be disruptive.
Hang on, Chrissy, stop. Chrissy, I'm going to right. I'm not fucking fighting with you. Out of your fucking mind. You're shouting over everyone to prove what?
Jamie, yeah?
All that it'd be disrupting is the growing of the grass.
Right. Jamie, do you know so I've got another document as well, yeah, which explains it a little bit more, and I'm going to read it out to you, yeah? And relevance to a hotel C1 use class. A hotel operating under the C1 use class is a commercial premises where lawful activities, including accommodating guests, hosting events, serving food and drink, and maintaining operations. Aggravated trespass could occur if somebody unlawfully enters the hotel property and intentionally disrupts these activities. Now, here's how it would apply. Now, disruption of lawful activities. If a trespasser interferes with hotel operations, such as blocking access to the reception, harassing guests, or disrupting the event, then you could be committing aggravated trespass. Hotels are private premises, even if they're open to the public for business. Access is conditional, e.g. for paying guests, blah, blah, blah. Unauthorized, now this is the key part. Unauthorized entry into restricted areas, e.g. guest rooms, kitchens. Yeah, this is what constitutes trespass. Now, a C1 compliance, the hotel must be operating. Yeah, now this is the key word. The hotel must be operating legally under a C1 use with proper planning permission and everything for the activity to be considered lawful under the law. Now, if these hotels are not operating with their C1 license, which they say that they're not, well, they say that they are. Well, we know they are because we checked them out. Yeah?
I was going to say they all are. Let's be honest. Almost all of them are.
They have to, Chrissy. Yeah, they have to. Yeah,
bro. I used to be a councillor at my local council. I used to deal with this quite a lot, so I do know, that as a C1 license. I mean, I thought, is it a C1B or something for them with if you've got a function suite and an on license?
No,
it's slightly different.
So a C1, it will only have a C1 license if it holds more than 6 guests. Anything with less than 6 guests with a hotel should be
like a HMO.
Should be like a C2, I think. I'll have to double check. Yeah. That's why you see a lot of Airbnbs with C2 licenses, etc.
The council will probably push them into being a HMO rather than a hotel if it was less than 6.
Yeah, that's how it would be. That's how it would be. Yeah.
Hello. Hello, Henry Crinkle. Good.
Oh, I'm going.
So
I've got a video backstage as well. I guess this is your evidence.
Yeah, is this what you're referring to? Right. Is this intimidation? Did you make a decision to leave and all that?
I'm sorry, you can't go in, mate.
I was in the lobby here. I was in the lobby, should I say?
It's a private property, mate.
What are you touching me for?
I'm not touching you.
What are you
mate.
getting from your fingers?
I'm not touching you, mate. Come on, you're too close to me.
Move then, buddy.
Sorry, you can't go in, mate.
Move,
you can't. You're touching me, mate.
Move, bro.
You're touching me, mate. You can't go in, mate.
What's that? What's that?
Right. Can we just confirm you're happy for us to play this, AY? Because you might want to play this on your channel. I'm happy to leave it if you want to leave it.
No, I wouldn't. This is old video, guys. This is video from this is old video.
Is this the attitude you have, though, claiming you're all innocent and like you are trying to intimidate this geezer, and he's telling you, no, you can't come in to this private premises. You got to leave, and all that rubbish about, if you don't make plans to leave, then that's an offence. You're not making plans to leave. You're fucking intimidate. You're up in his face.
Not at that moment. I'm not planning to leave.
The whole thing is you getting up in his face, telling him what this and that, and you're coming in. Or what? And you're complaining like you've been mistreated. You're the one doing the mistreating. Play the rest of it. We'll see.
Well, I'm the one doing the mistreating.
Yeah, you're going up to their place.
To their place.
You can't.
Okay, Henry. To their place.
No, you're hurting me. You're pushing me, mate. Come on. Is that part of your job to push me?
Push you? I'm not. What are you shouting for? I'm not pushing you.
Alpha 2, Alpha 2, Alpha 3, Alpha. Are you receiving over?
I'm not pushing you, bro. Why are you saying
Alpha 2, Alpha 3, Alpha?
Whatever it is, going to end badly.
Whatever. Into the building.
It's going to have a season finale.
Please, I need a backup immediately.
Tell him I'm not the YouTubers. I'm the hotel investigator. Tell him this. Tell him that the hotel
she used to wear a red coat.
Oh, tell him the hotel investigator is there. Look at his badge. There we go. Get a good copy of his badge. Don't turn it around.
He doesn't open his arm up flat and straight.
Say hello.
That'd be problematic.
Say hello. Tell him the hotel investigator is here on site to investigate the hotel. Yeah.
If you know you're an hotel investigator, then you've got to give me an ID to recognize yourself.
Okay, so let me sign into your book then, and I'll show you, won't I?
Look, as he's covering his pass with that.
Another one coming sneaking behind us. What's this one? Look. Let me take a good picture of that one. You two together.
It's Chris Rock.
Can you stand together?
Look, he's covering his ID with his hand.
That's quick.
Covering again now.
The hotel investigator is here.
Chris Rock.
He's jumping over the thing. Look, guys.
No, not this one.
What's he trying to do?
Right, so I guess Henry's point is that this point is why don't you leave?
The hotel investigator is
he hasn't
here.
asked him to leave.
Yeah, he's intimidating him now. What's he doing? Staying?
He hasn't asked him to leave.
Yes, he has.
No, he just said you couldn't come in.
Yes, he did. No, he said you can leave.
Tell him. The hotel investigator. The YouTubers are here.
So,
Can
you know,
I ask
the
you
YouTubers are here.
Point here, buddy.
what a load
can
of
I ask you a
shit.
question,
Know
bro?
what I'm saying?
The YouTubers are here.
What was your point here, bro?
The hotel investigator.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, what? Can I ask you a question?
I can't do this.
How are you? Yeah, good.
Come on, Henry. What was your point, bro?
Yeah, it's quite funny.
Yeah,
Actually.
Can I ask you a question?
Come on,
So,
Henry.
right, you're there
Right.
in their thing, making a cunt out of yourself. You're intimidating him. You was pushing him up in his face.
He's trying.
He
his
said
luck
you
to get
gotta go.
inside. He's trying
Yeah,
his
so
luck to
don't
get inside.
start crying and looking up pace and section one of this. when you think you've been mistreated, you deserve something.
What, I
Just
deserve to get
stop
coffee
being an
thrown in
arsehole.
my face,
Yeah, you stop being an arsehole and no one will
Henry?
mistreat you.
Henry?
You're
Do I
looking
deserve
for it. Come on, you know you are.
Henry? So when did I push it?
It was obvious to any onlooker with any kind of sense of anything that you weren't welcome there, and it's a private premises. So get the fuck away. You didn't
Okay, but Henry is not welcome in any establishment when it comes to the hotel migrants.
I don't think you are unless you're a resident.
Right, AY is very articulate. He's always polite, and what he tries to do, he tries his luck on. So he tries to shut up and let me make my point. Let me make my point. He has a very short time to do what he needs to do because he knows that the curtain gets pulled down rather quickly. He's done it long enough, and if you had you've got half a brain, you can understand what he's trying to do. He's trying to get in there quick and early to get what he wants to get. Right?
Why?
Obviously, with that, the security guard has acted correctly, and he's blocked him, and he hasn't laid hands on him, etc. He's just tried his luck. He's now backed off the mic, and shortly thereafter, within the next 10 minutes, you'll leave the whole premises. 20 minutes, leave the whole premises.
He ruined it
Right,
by pushing the guy.
AY's trying his luck, and it's his job to try his luck.
It's not
his job to try his luck.
AY, question for you. Question for you, AY. Why is it that you target the players and not the game?
Exactly. Fucking
Hey,
exactly.
Chris, you just read that in the chat. Chris, you just read that in the chat. Very poor, very poor.
No, I didn't read that in the chat.
It's literally in the chat.
It might be in the chat, but I've not got the phone's on a shelf, mate, charging. I'm on an earphone. I'm not reading the chat.
I get a question and I'm not allowed to answer. So if you're going to ask me a question, then you must give me an opportunity to answer.
I'm doing my job. I'm an auditor and investigator.
Well, be quiet now, Henry. You've had your say, Henry. You just get back in your box and just be quiet for a minute. Let me finish. Yeah. Now, what was the question, Chrissy?
Right. Why do you target the players and not the game?
Right. So, because you need to start at the bottom. Yeah, in my opinion.
No, you don't. You need to start at the top.
Let him answer though, Chrissy. Let him answer. Don't argue because if you're just going to be
go on. Sorry, go on.
All right. So in my opinion, yeah, if you start at the top, you can only fall down. Yeah, you can't. So there's no point. Now, if you start at the very bottom of the ladder, yeah, you can only rise up and you can only climb the ladder. Yeah. Now, if people like myself, people like Truth Hurts, people like Laudits, people like Victoria Rose, people like Active Patriot, if they're going to these hotels, they're highlighting things for people to see. Yeah. Now, once these things start gaining more views, they gain more traction, and then people start talking about this. Once people start talking about this, yeah, then you start getting to the higher echelons of the people, you know, because you're not just going to be able to walk up and knock on somewhere and say, right, you're doing this, you're doing that, blah, blah, blah.
So what is it they you expect them to be talking about? Section 1 of PACE, whether it's trespassing or not, or what? Like, what do you expect to come out of this?
Do you know what I expect?
Know what Section 1 of PACE actually is, though, do you?
Yeah, because that's all you're ever going to talk about, because you're never going to get to the residents inside,
I never talk about Section 1 of PACE. Never once do I talk about.
You're never going to find anything out, though, are you? For people to actually talk about.
Why don't you go to a public meeting at your local council and ask the people that are implementing rules?
So let's look at the things that we've actually found out so far. Yeah, not just myself. Yeah,
it's clear you're never going to get off the bottom.
Okay,
you're always going to be dealing with security guards. That's it. That's the end.
Henry, let him speak.
No problem. Not a problem. Yeah, if that's my destiny, that's my destiny. That's fine. That's no problem.
Well,
now, when you look at the things, I say we, yeah, as a collective, not just myself. Have actually,
not me. Don't include me in that.
Henry, can you fucking stop interrupting, mate?
All right, sorry.
Let him finish.
Now, what people have found out in these hotels, yeah. Now, we have found out, yeah, that these people are living for free, yeah, and they're actually going to work. We found that part out. We found out drug taking and drug dealing at these hotels. We've found dark kitchens at these hotels. We've found where, like, in case people don't know, like the dark kitchens is where probably, we can't prove it, but they've actually probably got migrants making food, cooking the food, and actually
Can't
then
prove it, but yeah, go on.
yeah. So I think you actually
So have you taken all these things that you've found to your local council, for instance?
to my no, I'm not. No.
You could
Why not?
always snitch to Uber Eats as well and say,
Do you know
look,
what-
you've got all these migrants working for you.
Henry, do you
Hang
know?
on, Henry. So
They're not working
how
for them.
about
They
taking
bought the
all of your
licence in.
evidence to your local
They bought the
council
license
meeting
in third hand.
and
They
putting it
rent
on
the
them?
license off a
What's my
legal
local
person.
council meeting going to do about a hotel in Gloucester?
You're missing the point as
So
well
go
of
to the
public
Gloucester.
opinion.
So
Chrissy.
go to
Chrissy,
Gloucester.
what about,
To go to
well,
the
Why am I
Gloucester
going to
council
go to
meeting
that's not my
and give
local house?
them the information that you're putting online, because you get as a citizen, you get 10 minutes to put your bit over in public meetings. And
That's a
believe
good
me, there are
idea. That's a good
councils.
idea.
There.
You don't
Hang on,
get
let me
kicked
finish.
out.
You want him to leave his house in London, to go to all over the country to film all these places, right? And then you want him to go to council meetings and raise it up in council meetings.
If he wants to make a
That's the
change,
next thing you want him to do.
it.
yeah.
If you
he's
if you
really
if you
got
go
this-
to your
yeah.
local, if you was to go to your local hotel and find the infractions that he's claimed, yeah, and then give those as evidence to your local council in a public council meeting, they then would have to act in some way, shape, or form.
The public opinion. It's the public opinion. That's all they'll do. It'd be like the police. It'd be like two-tier bollocks. Complete waste of fucking time.
How do you know it's a waste of time if you've never done it?
Wait there. This
How
is
do you
from
know
another
it's a waste of time
Chris,
if you've never
I'm
done
not
it?
answering whatever question. I'm making my point. Now, I'm telling you, no, I've done this for filming them on Dover and stuff. You don't get any publicity through mainstream. You don't get any pull through the council. That's all they want to do is arrest you.
Got me all the way to Gogglebox, mate.
So his
Got
job
me all the way
is
to Gogglebox.
to bring it to public opinion. Leave it for
Exactly.
the public.
Okay, so
he's
getting
done
it
his
to-
job.
getting it
His
to
job is complete.
terrestrial TV
His job is complete, Chrissy.
is the
That's
ultimate.
it. Done.
What's the end game, though? What's the end
Is
game?
the ultimate.
What's the
It's just
goal in
unbelievable.
all of
It's
this?
just unbelievable that you expect him to do everything, including the kitchen
No, I
sink.
don't expect him to do everything. I expect him to do what is going to be best for the fucking country, for the people. Yeah, if he's found out all this shit, take it to the right people and make
Hang on,
sure
he's already
you get it in front
uploaded
of
it.
the-
He's already
get it.
uploaded it. Hang on. What about public opinion, right? He's already uploaded it. You change public opinion in the media. That's what media's about. The influencing
Right.
hearts and minds
How
out
many
through
people
the
have
media.
viewed it on
Hang
here?
on,
How many
hang on.
people have
If
viewed
you
it?
look how the media works, they try and influence hearts and minds through the media. That's exactly what he's doing on YouTube, and
Yeah.
it's just the same.
Yeah, but
What's
but
the
he's
end
not getting
game?
it.
What's
Right,
the
how
end
many
game?
views have you got for
Hang
your
on.
biggest
So what are you
video?
measuring it against, Chrissy? How would you measure
I'm
his success?
measuring it against exposure. If you
Okay,
was to
so-
do this properly, you could get this on terrestrial TV.
We probably
You could get
could.
those
I mean, if you
questions
don't
answered.
think Channel 4 have probably downloaded every single one of his videos, I wouldn't be shocked if they had. Of course they will. They'll all be
but they
watching.
won't.
But
They won't.
it's about getting it exposed, isn't it?
Well,
Yeah,
that's
but
what he's
wait,
doing.
wait, the
I'm giving
mainstream
you-
media,
so-
mainstream media avoid
how many-
these subjects.
What
They're
is
not going to talk
what is
about these
the
subjects.
what is the most views you've got on any single video?
Who, me?
Yeah,
What, on X or on YouTube?
but either.
I'd probably say about 400,000 on YouTube.
I think you've missed my
I don't
point.
know, to
What,
be
a
honest.
single
with you.
video?
I'd probably say about 400
Single video.
on one single video, probably about 400k, and a couple
Right.
on X have done like 500,000.
Right. If you got that on terrestrial TV, you would be getting literally millions.
You're
And the way
no,
to
you're
do
totally you're living in you're 20 years out.
I
of date,
work in
Chris.
the
You know,
media now, James.
Chrissy, you
What
talk,
sort
the
of
new
media
media
you
we're on.
working in
This
then,
is the
buddy?
new media. This is getting more views than any.
Do you know how many
terrestrial
people
TV.
watch EastEnders in a week?
I can't remember now. What,
Can
11
I ask
million?
a question?
In a
Hello.
week?
Can I ask a question?
Because you must
I
be
used to
20
work
years
on
behind
EastEnders,
sure.
Bob. I used to
Yeah,
work
you
on
used to.
EastEnders.
Chrissy,
Emphasise
you
the word
worked everywhere. Everywhere we bring
Emphasise
up, you
the
worked.
word used
Okay,
to,
but
yeah.
I've worked on EastEnders. I've worked for
I've
the
got a
BBC
question
for a
for
couple of
you.
years.
I mean, what happens if I say Brookside?
I've never worked on Brookside.
Oh, there we are.
So can I ask a question?
What's the point? What I'm
Hello?
saying is, You need to put this in front of the people that are denying that it even exists.
No.
If you go
He's
to
done
any
his
of your
job. His
local
job is
council,
done.
if you go
Wait there,
to any
Chris.
of your local council
Chris.
meetings, you will not see
Fucking real.
hardly a
This is
soul
unreal.
sitting in the public gallery, and it's those people that start passing it up the chain so that the people's
Someone else's
opinions
job.
get
That's
heard.
someone else's job. That's someone else's job that the fancy's doing that, like, because they'll turn around and say, we've watched these videos online. This is the hotel down the road, and this is the video exposing the waste, exposing the food that's being thrown out, exposing all of the shit that's going on. The Uber Eats, but that's someone else's job. That's not his job. He's done his bit.
Hang on, we actually
someone
found
else
out
to take it.
you can legally work, though. We did look into this, and they
No,
are
you
allowed
can't.
to work.
No, you
Yes,
can't,
you can.
David. No,
Yes,
you
you
can't.
can. Yes,
No,
you
you
can.
can't,
Yes,
Henry.
you can.
You-
Yes, you can.
Henry,
Oh,
you're
yes,
right.
you
Hey, why,
can.
I promise you that once it's automatic after 12 months and with permission under.
Right.
Yeah.
So are we grassing up every single mum, for instance, that does a couple of hours cleaning a week and gets extra money on her benefits? Are we?
No, where's that?
Hang on. Do you mind if I ask a
What has a
question?
mother? What has
Hello?
a British mother got to do with illegal migration?
Right, I'd
With
like to ask a question.
it's not
if
illegal
that's
migration.
possible.
It's refugee. They are
All
refugees,
right.
not
So
illegal.
how did they arrive in the
migrants.
country, Chris? How did they arrive in the
It
country?
doesn't matter how they get here if they step
Answer the
foot on the
fucking
fucking
question,
soil.
retard.
If
Answer the
they
question,
don't
retard.
start with a
How did they
retard,
arrive in the country?
Oh, here
it
we go.
doesn't
We're
Ask
matter.
a
getting
As soon as
question,
they step
Jamie.
foot on the
Answer the
soil,
fucking
they
question,
claim
retard.
asylum. As soon as they step foot on the soil, they
How
claim
did they
asylum,
enter the
and there
country,
is no
retard?
illegal entry.
Hello.
How do they
May
enter
I
the
ask a
country?
question?
Answer the
However
question,
they
Chris.
can. However they can.
Answer the question, Chris.
What was the question?
How did they enter the country?
However they can.
So
All sorts of
okay, so
different
give me the
ways.
options. Give me the options.
Oh, so right, okay. So you want the boat thing, yeah?
Well,
It
just
doesn't
give me
matter
the options.
how they get here. When they step foot on the soil, they claim refugee status.
Exactly,
That
and
makes
that's
them
not
Did they
illegal.
commit a crime to
That
enter the
makes
country,
them
Chris?
legal.
Did they commit a crime to come into the country, Chris?
No, because
No,
claiming
the
asylum
smugglers
is
did.
not a crime.
Hey, mate, I've got footage. I've got footage
Go
down
on.
in Dover in 2020, and I'm actually
Yeah.
filming them from the other side of the fence, and they're reading them their rights. Every single one of them, they read them their rights because officially they get arrested.
So yeah, right, okay. So have you got a
So
problem
what the
with
fuck are you talking about,
with
Chris?
all people having rights?
You fucking
They're
retard. What are you
illegal
talking about?
immigrants.
You've just
Wait,
agreed
stop
with me.
it. Based, you're a fucking idiot. Stop it with the fucking
Whoa,
abuse.
whoa,
We're
right,
supposed
but
to be adults.
Peria, stop fighting.
Hey,
You've literally just
only
We're
agreed with me, you
supposed to
bald
be
tit.
adults having
You've
a
literally
conversation.
agreed with me, you
Right, sorry,
We
I
are
know,
all
I know
adults.
people want to hear a fight. I'll let them just calm down backstage.
Exactly. So I've got a
Listen,
question.
we're all adults,
Hey,
Jake. We should
AY,
have
AY.
a civil conversation without swearing
All
and
right,
without.
all right. I've
I'm
got a
not talking to
question.
you, Henry.
Well,
I'm
all
talking
right,
to
Henry, let him
Henry.
talk.
Yeah.
All right.
We
So
should have a civil conversation without swearing, without shouting, and without being aggressive to each other. We're all meant to be
All-
adults.
yeah. All right. So can I ask you a question?
No, you can't. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah,
I'm only
you
joking. I'm only joking, Henry.
He could have had enough, and I'd have been fine with that as well. Honestly.
No, I was
That's
just.
hilarious.
All right. So
He's lieutenant, he gets crazy.
So these videos in the hotels, what
Yeah.
do you aim to get out of it? What's the end game for you?
So the end game for me would be, to be able to keep on showing, exactly what is going on in these hotels, whether it be these migrants working, whether it be them drug taking.
Show to who? The members of the public or MPs or what?
To show to the masses, and then.
Okay,
and then,
what's the motivation behind it?
Let's just say, for example, that
why do you want them to know this?
Henry, you keep asking me lots of questions.
Yeah, all right.
You're giving me an opportunity.
All right.
Now, like if I make a video now, I'm gonna presume I've got a good idea. I don't hope Jamie doesn't mind me saying this, but I'd say that he's in like the Yorkshire area, possibly like Leeds area. Yeah.
Doxed, bloody doxed.
Hang on. So
hold on, let me finish. So if I made a video up Leeds, and Jamie didn't know me and he picked it up and they've watched the videos, he shows it to and he goes to this council meeting, he can then go with this video and say, look what's happening here. Yeah. I found this on YouTube. And this is the hotel and it's round the corner from my house. Like what is
well, the question still stands. Why? What's motivating you to do this? To point this sort of stuff out to
we can afford masses. Because if we can keep on affording to pay for these people and to let these people live in life's luxury, while their own British citizens are standing in food banks working 2 jobs, we're pretty much, a lot of people are poor. If they can afford to look after these other people, why can't they afford to look after their own?
So you think that by highlighting this, people will
let's just focus on his answer. So no, his answer is he wants to. Basically, he's trying to. So he's publishing this information so people are fully aware what's going on, where the money's being spent, and how much and why, and just so that people can get an idea of what's going on. And I don't agree with Chris's about being on media. Hang on, you got to let other people jump in. So I want to break this down. So, and Chris is saying, we'll get it on TV. This is bigger than any TV. The possibilities that are getting them videos out are just so much more bigger here than on any TV. And his end goal is to look at the disparity in how people are treated. That's what he's talking about. And I've heard him say that multiple times.
Okay. And so what does he hope happens if the masses pay attention? What would you hope to happen? The government say, let's not put them in hotels. Let's give all the money to homeless veterans. Let's say.
No.
What do you hope to happen?
What I hope to happen is that enough people are so angry and upset with the way that this country is being run that they stamp their feet and they turn around and say, "See you Labour people, see you Conservative people, see you later," because you ain't delivering on the promises of what you have actually said you're going to deliver on, and you've never delivered on it for the past, God knows how long. Every whole life, So, and we need.
Can I respond to that in a sec, please?
So, do you think the reason why all of these promises are not being fulfilled, to do with NHS, hospitals, and cost of living, is to do with the migrants in hotels? Do you think that's the cause?
Okay. So I say, I don't say, this is also fact as well. We're spending £1 billion a month, on benefits.
You're right, but what Henry's saying is that
I think it's £1 billion.
What Henry's saying is that's right, and all this money's being spent. But Henry's saying, well, hang on, can we look elsewhere at financial waste, or is that just the problem? Once that's dealt with, the whole country's rich. That's not the truth, is it?
No, that's not.
Can I make a point, guys? Can I make a point without interruption? So, if anyone understands how the economy works, basically you've got approximately 25%.
Are you an economist? Are you in economics as well?
I've looked at it, mate. I've researched it quite well.
He's an Egyptologist, everything.
25% of the country are over 65. Approximately 17 or 18% are under 18, and the rest in the middle, which obviously is around 60%, are of working age. Now, as we get older, because obviously we're living longer, and as the birth rate drops, we're getting more old people. We're getting more old people that need to be paid for by the current working class. Because the current working class pays for the elderly. Even though the elderly, once upon a time, were paying for their elderly, that's the way it works. Now, if that 40% keeps reducing, as it has been for quite some time now, eventually what happens is the whole economy crashes. So we need to get people in to work to keep the economy running. And we're not producing those people. We need to import them.
Can I respond to that then? Yeah, so I understand exactly what you're saying. It is a problem, but it's a problem of our own thing, because the government pushing women out to work in the 70s, putting family backwards, putting a step back, and before you know it, you're reproducing at a rate of 1.7, and we need a rate of like 2.2 really. So I understand your point, but then there's another point that we keep talking about, and it's not pretty, etc. But that's all we end up doing is the GDP is static, and it's static. It's not going up. It's like 0.02% a quarter. It's just not going anywhere. It hasn't done for a long time. GDP per capita is going down, right? And AI is now, like you said, AI is going to step in, and AI is going to take a lot of jobs away. They keep on saying
that's going to ruin everything.
Well, this is the thing. So why do we need an unskilled population? Why do we need an unskilled population?
But we know the answer to that. We know the answer.
When that's all I hear when I see certain programs.
But I mean, you say that well, Shane. We've discussed it many times, but we know the answer, don't we? We know the answer to that.
What?
You ask why do we? Why you ask why when we've discussed it multiple times, and we know that helps keep wages down. There's jobs that people aren't willing to do. Big industry need a workforce. We know all this. The politicians are always talking about it. The politicians are always talking about productivity and how it has to increase. So basically, they're providing what the government are wanting to implement as regards to economic policy.
In 10, 20 years' time, these
I've got
jobs
another
will,
question.
In 10, 20 years' time, I'm getting told from all the experts that these jobs, a lot of jobs, won't be needed. Right,
but that's not that. What the point? So we're moving the goalpost again.
He's talking about the future. He's talking about pensions. He's talking about pensioners who's going to look after people. So we are talking in decades in time. So in decades in time, when AI really kicks in, a lot of jobs. So the experts tell me that we won't be in jobs. So
AI will also create jobs, Welshie, by the way.
Yeah, so but it's taking multiple jobs away, or everyone's.
What jobs will it create, Henry?
Programming jobs, stuffing computers, robotics.
Yes, overall, it's going to strip it because I mean,
I've got
even
another
editing,
question for AI.
AI editing now is excellent, isn't it? AI editing is excellent. They don't need editors.
If AI don't mind, can I ask him this? So you said earlier that you want to bring it to the masses so they get angry and do you know this or that.
The same circle every time. Just trying to turn the circle a little bit
different. Hang on.
To get a different answer.
Hi guys, can I
hang on? I'm
just in the middle of the point. I just come in. Oh, what happened there? Everyone just disappeared.
Hello, I was about to ask. Oh, hello, newcomer.
Let the ladies
speak. Henry, you can ask me this question because I need to go out. Yeah, so I'll answer this question from you, and then. After that, I need to actually go out. Yeah.
Okay, so earlier you said you want to highlight this to the masses so they get angry and the rest of it.
I never used the word angry. I don't think.
Or get riled up or get something.
You did use the word angry, but you finished the sentence, which he didn't do. He didn't finish the sentence.
So the question is this:
it would get angry to not vote.
Right, we don't need you. I heard him myself.
I am going to wrap up in 10 minutes.
Well, hang on.
Ask your question.
I'm not.
So the question is: you said, like, you know, you want to highlight it to the masses so they get angry and we can change something. Would you agree if that's your attitude that your report? But hang on. So would you agree or would you disagree that with that in mind, would it taint your reporting? And is it kind of like just demonizing the hotels and the people in them? Is it a form of scapegoating? So, you know, like all your reporting is negative, and will it taint how you report this shit in terms of bias?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't quite understand what you're saying, but this is what I think that you're saying. I hope I've got it right. I am unbiased when I go there. When I speak to the migrants,
you are biased, did you say?
No, I'm not. I'm very unbiased. I think I talk to them respectfully. I ask them respectful questions. I don't ask them any disrespect. Maybe the most disrespectful thing I might ask them would be, why would you leave your wife and children in a war-torn country and leave them?
Yeah,
you know,
regardless of the regardless of the questions you may ask individual residents, right? Do you think, though, because you've said, hang on,
it's question after question after question.
Welshie, please.
It's non-stop.
Welshie,
it's literally just question on him.
Yeah, you don't like it, and you're trying to shut me down.
No. What it is, see, you don't even finish the statement until the sentence is off.
Hang
You
on.
literally mentioned about getting angry without saying how he finished it, which he said not to vote for Labour.
Giving your commentary on how I ask my own questions, please. Stop trying to shape how I ask questions. I'll ask them the way I want. I'll ask them the way I want.
Question done by
Please tell me this is what he does. He knows I'm getting to some good shit, and he tries to shut me down.
Lying.
Right?
You're just lying.
I'm not lying.
You're so disingenuous.
I'm
you
not
lying.
lying.
The sentence off. You just said attitude and angry. Angry
let
to
him
do what?
try and identify.
What did he say?
Welshie, please.
Angry not to vote.
Okay.
Welshie,
please.
Welshie, I want to ask him a follow-up question.
You've said it repeatedly.
Order. Apologies to have removed people. Order. My position on that, I thought Welshie were the one disrupting there, to be honest. I think Welshie started 5 minutes